Hi everyone, I'm Shailene. Today we are here at the Hive Studios recording our first ever edition of Superfail Hong Kong. I'm incredibly excited because I'm here with a fellow Filipina and this is Sarah V. She's a female entrepreneur and a digital marketing expert. She's here to talk to us about basically all the things that went wrong before they went right. Right? And we're so excited to have you here. How are you doing?
Thank you, Shay. Thank you for having me here.
Absolutely.
I'm not going to lie, when I first was invited on, I was a little nervous to talk about my failures. But I know ultimately it will help people that are listening.
Exactly.
So.
And that is the end goal.
Yeah.
So let's get to it. Let's start from the very beginning. When we first spoke, you talked about being a perfectionist and you know, how you believe that that's what sort of slowed you down or maybe made you miss some opportunities along the way. So could you tell us about a time when perfectionism made you miss out on something?
I could explain how it affected me at work. So I started out in PR marketing when I was 21. And from there, I realized I wanted to make sure that my work was great, that it was top notch, you know, because mentally you want to have that validation from your boss and your teammates. So you're always thinking like, how do I make this great? Long story short, ultimately it knocked down my execution work because I spent so much time perfecting one task that I didn't have enough time to, you know, finish the rest or even be able to evaluate what I was releasing properly. It was like, let me make this so perfect that nothing would go wrong. But, you know, with life, something's always going to go wrong. And that's why sometimes, you know, when you make plans or when you schedule things, you have this little window where you plan to be late or you need some prep work. I didn't have that in my mindset. I was thinking, as long as I plan it meticulously, everything's going to go my way, and it completely crushed me. It crushed me when I did the most perfect work I could do, and it still wasn't good enough. And I realized that until I constantly fail, until I know what went wrong, I can't get things right.
So when it comes to, you know, wanting to do everything perfectly, obviously, I'm sure you've learned that there is a lot of disadvantages to being that way. So what lesson has that taught you with regards to your career specifically?
I learned that every single minute I spend being a perfectionist, I lose out on opportunities, right? So the most successful people are the ones that aren't afraid to fail, because out of the 99 times that they failed, that's 99 times that they know what not to do.
Absolutely.
Right? And you can't read that from a book. You have to experience it. You have to go through it yourself.
When you're a teenager, right? And someone tells you not to do something. But you know you're going to do it anyway. And then eventually, like, you only really learn the lesson when you experience the consequences yourself.
Exactly.
And, you know, there's no amount of advice that can sort of drive you away from that.
You can provide support for people, right? But ultimately, they have to fail on their own.
For sure. And plus, sometimes failing is a little fun. Like, there is joy to be taken in being like, I totally royally screwed that up, you know? Like, I think once you get used to it, you get comfortable in that space, there is joy to be had in those moments, for sure. So I wanted to talk about the fact that, you know, before I had actually officially met you, I had you on LinkedIn and Instagram and stuff like that. And so, you know, you're quite an open book when it comes to your insecurities and sort of your fears. How do you think that benefits you? With regards to your own mental health and to your career and how people perceive you?
I used to think it didn't benefit me, but as you said, I am an open book. I'm a very honest person. Sometimes my mouth gets ahead of me, but I mean, to answer that seriously, I honestly feel like being vulnerable is an important trait to have. You could act a certain way on social media platforms. You can create your persona, right? I'm not gonna lie, for years I created this persona that wasn't me. And this is probably the first time I'm saying it. I created a persona where I was the party girl, socialite.
I was going to say, I didn't want to like presume that wasn't you, because there's nothing wrong with being that.
Yeah,
you know?
That's okay. But if I have to be really honest, that wasn't who I wanted to be. But that was somebody that everybody around me wanted me to be. And that was what my job wanted me to be. And that's okay. I learned a lot from it. But like I said, with social media, you could build a persona and have people believe who you are. Yeah. But the past 2-3 years, I woke up and I realized I don't want to be this person. I want to be truly me. So for anyone that's been following my social media, it's full of motivational quotes, but not just, the rainbows and unicorns kind of motivation, the ones that really hit hard.
Yeah.
The ones that trigger people.
Yeah.
They'll be like, how dare Sarah say something? Like, who does she think she is?
Feeling called out.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
But the reason why I do this is because I do want people to wake up. Because the reality is we could build so many different types of personas online, but ultimately you need to know who you are as a person. And that requires being woken up, whether it's on social media, by a friend, by an ex-boyfriend, or even my kid, right? He wakes me up sometimes. He's like, Mom, you told me to practice discipline. So yeah, for me, exercising authenticity and being vulnerable in front of people is really important online.
For sure.
Because you never know who's really watching or reading what you're writing, and that it could help them.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still a fan of the travel post, right? Like, I'm always going to post a photo of me by the pool.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah.
But don't get lost in the validation.
Yeah.
Sometimes we spend minutes and hours editing a photo thinking about how many likes we're going to get. I've changed that mindset to thinking about, if I post this, who am I going to help? And that's what's become more important to me right now.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when we had, I think it was on a WhatsApp conversation, but it was about something you'd posted. And I said that, whatever you are going through right now, it was going to become part of your survival guide for someone else.
Yeah.
And that was something that you'd posted, and it really stuck with me,
Yeah.
It is the kind of stuff where sharing what you're going through just takes the burden off a little bit for someone else.
Exactly. And you don't know that. You don't know who's hearing you out. You don't know who's going through similar heavy waves like you, right? Like, life brings waves your way that crashes over you, and you're drowning, and then you submerge and you feel like you're okay, and then you're drowning again. But in those moments, you read something that really elevates you. Yeah. And I feel like more people should do that. Whether it's just, so I get some people want to be perfect about their Instagram grid. Fine. Maybe try it in your stories. Post something that you think would help someone.
For sure. And I think being your authentic self, it's easier to kind of sit with yourself alone, with your thoughts, when you know that you're being true to what's actually on your mind, instead of like, I'm going through the shit right now, but I'm posting all these like pool photos and nothing's
phasing me.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm totally fine.
I'm just chilling with a pina colada. Everything's all good.
So I mean, with that said, I felt like that was one of my life's failures, was that I spent, out of 10 years of my social media life, I spent 8 of it showing off materialistic things. And that's cool. I was a PR, I was a club manager. So a lot of people came through, but I now want to look back and think, yes, I have a lot of followers. Yes, I have a lot of LinkedIn contacts. Yes, I influence people in the way they think, but am I doing it the right way? Am I influencing them to go out and pop bottles? Or am I influencing them to look internally and be a better person? Because I want that. Yeah. And for me, that's a failure that I had to go through for 8 years, not knowing who I was. Yeah. But now I do. Like, now, I'm not going to say I truly know who I am, but with my failures that I've gone through on social media platforms, I know who I want to be now. Yeah. And I'm hoping, and I know, I'm confident that that's helping people.
For sure. Yeah. I agree with that, for sure. So actually, I wanted to go back and discuss your background a bit, because you mentioned being a party girl. And I think, you being quite a well-known name here in Hong Kong for the work that you do with digital marketing. I want you to tell us a little bit about where you made your start in your career and, you know, how you defined success back then versus how you would define it now.
Do I start talking about the beginning of my career?
You start wherever you want.
Oh, man. Okay, so I was 18 and I got invited to a bikini competition.
Nice.
And they were giving away $10,000 to the best. They were giving away $10,000 to the one with the most stickers on your body. And back then, nobody batted an eyelid with how that was very sexist, or, you know, males can come in, buy drinks, and when you buy a drink, you get a sticker and you get to touch the ladies in bikinis. And the dress code for the girls was you must come in a bikini. I was 18, you know, so I thought, let's do it. I got drunk, I went on stage, and I got the most stickers because everybody was just touching. So I was like, I win. I got a call back 2 days ago and got asked, hey, do you want to be a dancer in the club? And I said yes. Boom. From then, long story short, I got called in by a club because they realized I brought a lot of people whenever I was performing somewhere. And they said, do you want to be a club PR? Wow. So that's when I joined Play. Then the team there, thank goodness for them, they realized I had the skill set for social media marketing. And this was back in 2011, 2012. Wow. Nobody had jobs for social media marketing. So I was given the accounts at Maximal Concepts to do restaurants and the spa and everything. And then from then on, that was the start of my career. If I had to talk about the success of that, it would definitely be the network I was able to build from day one. That really benefited me until today. I mean, I know the people at the Hive.
Yeah.
And that really comes down to remembering to take care of your network. Don't take advantage of them, you know, but take care of them. Speak to your network, get in touch, collaborate. It really opens doors for various opportunities. So I think that's not a fail for me.
I wouldn't call it that at all.
Yeah.
Having recently left a position, right, that I'm sure you were very, very excited about.
Yeah.
How did you feel about that departure? And do you know where you want to take your career now that you've left that place?
I was fighting with myself about leaving. I was thinking, oh, it's such a good title, it's such a good position, the benefits are great, but ultimately it just wasn't what I believed in. And I gave myself two choices. I could stay for the title, look cool on social media, get the validation that everybody will give me.
Did look pretty badass, yeah.
Yeah. Or I could stay true to myself and my beliefs and leave.
Which is way more badass.
So I took that route. And it was hard to take it because, again, the fear of judgment enters. The fear of judgment tells you, oh, what will people say? And then again, I'm like, people's opinions don't pay my bills.
Yeah.
So I need to pay my bill.
Yeah.
I've left and I've decided to create a platform that really will help women in Hong Kong, whether they're starting a business or they've had to really pivot their current business. Because a lot of trainers and a lot of gyms are closed and the trainers don't really have anything to do except reach out to clients and bring them to the parks or do one-on-one trainings on Zoom calls.
Yeah.
But again, some of these trainers that, you know, this is their life's work, don't have the audience they need.
Yeah.
And I want to provide, you know, this job platform for them so that they could post their links to their classes. I have a database of over 4, 5, 6,000 women in Hong Kong that are active. Over 200, 300 women active daily on the chat, and that's great. But I feel it would be such a disservice if I didn't create that platform.
Yeah.
That ultimately it comes down to me to change some of these women's lives. Because there's so many resources that goes into the chat, and it's called Girls of Hong Kong. I've had it for 7 years now.
Yeah.
And it started out because my boss, I love him to death, but he asked me to bring girls to the club. long story short, they were uncomfortable. I was uncomfortable because, the idea of baiting men to buy bottles in exchange for sitting with women didn't sit with me right. So then I told my boss, look, I can still bring women, but they're not allowed to sit with the guys. We have our own table. We have our own drinks. We have a good time. Your club looks good. He was like, all right, do it. And then it went from 6 girls drinking every Thursday or Friday to 12 to 20 to 50, and ultimately a Facebook group that just grew to 3,000, 4,000 members. And we migrated over to WhatsApp for the ones that are actively, sharing resources, asking for help, giving recommendations. And it's just absolutely beautiful because you see one person that you've never met ask a question and you have the answer and you just answer.
Yeah.
There's no judgment in that chat, and it's so great because there's just so much support, which I feel like Hong Kong really needs right now. So again, it would be wrong of me not to create a platform.
Yeah.
There's just so many other people that I know would help each other.
For sure. And with the timing of it all.
Yeah.
You leaving this company and, finally looking at something that you started years ago.
Yeah.
And thinking there's something here. There's something that I can drive of your own volition. So do you believe in the importance of timing?
I do, and I also don't believe in coincidences. I believe everything happens for a reason. I believe people come and go in your life to teach you something. And I believe situations happen for you to learn, whether you're going through adversity or the happiest moments in your life, you have to look at it as a learning opportunity, always.
Absolutely.
Because that's how you grow, and that's how you become more resilient.
Yeah. So what would you say has been the single most important lesson you've learned from all those failures now that you're about to embark on your own sort of personal venture? Do you have a single lesson that has really stuck with you that you'd like to impart?
I guess with everything that's happened and with all the lessons I've learned, it's to constantly show up, no matter what. Always show up.
Yeah.
It gets tough, it gets hard, you get fired, you lose a relationship, your kid doesn't like you. Show up. Always show up, because at the end of the day, things still go according to plan. Things will still happen with or without you. And you don't want to look back and regret that you wasted your days, mourning over your loss or your failures. Like, feel them, be present when you're failing. Don't avoid it. Don't distract yourself to the point where you say time will heal everything. No, time doesn't heal things. It's you addressing your failures, but you still have to have strength to show up no matter what. So I'm going to be honest. It was hard for me to show up today. I've been going through some tough times, but I asked myself, if I didn't show up today, could I still help people? And my answer was, if I didn't come here, the answer would be no. And I want to help people. So I showed up.
And I'm so glad you did. I think your message really will resonate with so many people. I mean, sitting here right now, it's resonating with me because, it really isn't easy to show up all the time.
It's the toughest thing.
Yeah.
It's the toughest thing to do, especially when you're just going through life's hurdles. And life doesn't stop. Life won't give you a break. Yeah. One day they're going to go life's going to go like, Shay, you're having such a good day. You're having such a great momentum. I think it's time to teach you a lesson. Show up even through these lessons. You have to.
Absolutely.
You have to. You don't want to wake up when you're 90 and in your deathbed and wishing you showed up those times that you had the choice to.
Yeah.
And that's so important.
I do think about that a lot, like thinking about how am I going to feel about the decisions that I made when I was at this age? If I'm 80, 90 years old, how am I going to feel? And I think that is it's a strong driving force. It's pretty dark, but it works. It's effective.
Yeah.
For sure.
Just stay resilient, Always remember things don't stay the same, whether it's good or bad.
Yeah.
regardless of what happens. Just be present and show up. Don't live in the past. Don't live too far in the future where you're forgetting to enjoy the moments, even the moments of failure or the moments of pain.
Yeah.
Just live it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed. And on that note, I think we're going to take it over to the Q&A questions now.
Okay.
So we had a few questions, and I think there's some pretty good ones. So
I'm nervous.
Don't be nervous. These are the people who support you for sure. So, I believe this was on LinkedIn. Henry would like to know, what is the personal failure or pain you have experienced that has made you grow the most professionally?
Getting fired.
Really?
Getting fired. And I've been fired more than twice.
Wow.
I definitely grew from that, because the first time I got fired, I was thinking, I'm a big failure. And this was when I was 22, 23. I'm 31 now. And I survived it, and it was fine. I learned from it I think if I was never fired, I wouldn't be as disciplined as I am today. And that's really important.
Yeah.
For my career as well. I need to be disciplined.
For sure. Yeah, I think if you know, like, the consequences can result in something as drastic as that.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to snap into shape.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, for sure.
So this is from Emily. I believe this was on Facebook. As a working mother, what have you found to be the most effective way to balance work and home life?
If I have to be technical, it would be Google Calendar.
Ooh.
Google Calendar for sure. My son has Google Calendar, but he's 10.
Yeah.
So I just drop little things like online math class or Duolingo Chinese or go play football so I can have some quiet time.
Genius.
There are days where I don't have anyone watching my son. Again, thank you to Matthew, who taught my son to be very independent and, capable.
Yeah.
Those hours where I'm not at home and nobody can watch my son, I pencil in times for him to go to a farm in Moiwo. He loves the farm.
I saw the carrot soup you made out of the carrots he picked.
He absolutely loved it. I'd pencil in things for him to do. And that's how I'm juggling, work and home life right now.
Yeah.
And I think it's working really well. But I'm not going to lie, when my kid was younger, it wasn't easy.
Yeah.
He'd be asleep by 8. I don't come home till 9 or 10. And I have to go to the office at 9, and he's just about waking up. So it was really hard. But I gave up the time I spent with him because I was a single mom. I still am a single mom. And I believe that ultimately, as long as I invested in my career, I would have that opportunity in the future to spend more time with him. My failure there was doing it for too long. I wasn't very present in my son's life up until he was about 7.5 or 8, because I was constantly working. I was drowning myself in work. I was thinking about all these clients I could work with, about how much money I'm going to save up because, I'll buy him everything he needs. I think that's a really long answer, but
no.
I mean,
I think it's really interesting because basically the essence of what I'm taking away from what you're saying is that in order to give yourself time to be yourself, you had to teach your kid to sort of develop interests and things that he liked to do.
Yeah. So that he can do his own thing. He can do his own thing and build confidence, right? He's confident he can do these things because I show him I believe in that.
Yeah.
Then I can handle my own schedule. I get to go out, get my nails done. No, just kidding. I like to have my own quiet time and a glass of wine.
Yeah.
While these are happening, my kid's busy creating
doing
things.
His own thing.
Yeah, doing his own thing.
Amazing. And looking back, this is sort of an extension of her same question. Is there anything you wish you had done differently balancing the two? It sounds like you kind of said that you hadn't spent as much time with him as you like to.
Yeah,
but
I mean, if I were to do things differently, I would have definitely spent much more time on my son's education and his schedule. Again, it goes back to now I have it easy because I have Google Calendar synchronized between me and my 10-year-old. But back then, I wish I paid more attention to his schedule, which ultimately leads to his education and his social life and, just his mental health.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And our final question is one off Instagram.
Okay.
What's one thing you didn't learn about digital marketing while you were in school? Or perhaps something you learned on the job that you didn't learn in school?
I have learned absolutely nothing from school when it comes to digital marketing. I learned everything through experience and just figuring it out myself, because at the age of 9, my mom constantly left me in front of a computer, and that was okay. I was coding from start.
Yeah.
So when it comes to learning anything to do with digital marketing, I didn't go to school. Yeah. Everything was self-taught, except for SEO and Google. Thank you to First Page.
Yeah.
They taught me that. But apart from that, everything was through experience, failures. I do my own photo shoots. I teach how to do content writing, hashtags, whatever marketing strategies you need for 6 months to 12 months. I've learned all of that myself.
Amazing.
So, yeah.
So basically everything you learned outside of school.
Everything.
Yeah.
And that's what happens when you really let yourself learn from experience, right? I'm not saying don't go to school, guys. You need to go to school. I'm taking a lot of classes from Udemy right now.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Yeah, because I see the value in educating yourself further. But experiencing things, it really just sticks in your brain how you execute.
The School of Life is an excellent teacher, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. For
sure. All right. On that note, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much, Sarah. I really had a great time chatting with you.
Man.
If you guys enjoyed Superfail, this edition of Superfail, please make sure to tune in to our next one. We're probably going to have one every month, and we're really excited to do that. So thanks so much for kicking it off with us.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for inviting me and having me on here. I'm super excited to see the rest of the hosts that you guys are bringing on here. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to send me a message on my social profiles. Thank you
so much.